Hello everyone. In the last class, this is the second class of petroleum geology, and in the last class we have studied about the what is petroleum, why petroleum geology is important, what are the components of petroleum geology or rather petroleum hydrocarbon, and what are the physical property which is very essential to identify petroleum hydrocarbon and how to deal with them. Now next comes what are the occurrences of hydrocarbon, where we can find these hydrocarbon. Okay, so we will move on the next slide, that is the occurrence. The distribution of hydrocarbon is kind of omnipresent. We can find in all geological setting and all geological condition we can find the hydrocarbon, but the important thing is we used to look for commerciality. Okay, so as for the occurrence, here we can see over there it occurs, we can divide the occurrence based on the rock type, subsurface occurrence, then surface occurrence based on the geological ages, based on the habitat, lithology, trap, depth wise distribution, and what is the location within the basinal part. The first thing which comes in our mind is what is the associated rock type. Since we know the hydrocarbon usually occurs beneath the subsurface. Okay, though in the last class I discussed that we can find hydrocarbon on the surface, above the surface and beneath the surface, but most of the commercial occurrence of hydrocarbon is associated or found beneath the surface. That means they are usually associated with the rock type. And as for the rock type, since most of us are geologists or belonging to geoscientific fraternity, the rocks are mainly igneous rock, metamorphic rock and sedimentary rock. So igneous rock is formed by solidification of magma which comes from the earth's surface or and metamorphic rocks are formed by the metamorphism of pre-existing igneous and sedimentary rock by increasing pressure, temperature. Okay, and the sedimentary rocks are being formed by erosion, transportation and deposition within a sedimentary basin of the pre-existing igneous, metamorphic as well as sedimentary rock itself. So the next question comes whether we can find the hydrocarbon in the igneous and metamorphic rock or not. So it is quite natural, because this igneous rock is formed by solidification of magma which is coming from beneath the surface, and metamorphic rock is formed by the metamorphism of pre-existing rock with increasing temperature, and that temperature goes up to 1000 degrees Celsius. So 800, 900 or rather 1000 degrees Celsius. So at that temperature, do we expect the existence of organic matter? Organic matter will not remain as such, it will convert it into coal or graphite. Okay, rather, but these rocks are also proved to be hydrocarbon bearing. Now the question comes, how these rocks can be hydrocarbon bearing? These rocks are hydrocarbon bearing based by the presence of fractured porosity. Fractured porosity which is present in these rocks. What happens, this hydrocarbon used to form in the sedimentary rock, but after migration they goes to the, sometimes they goes into because after migration what they require a trap. So sometimes these igneous and metamorphic rock, they also act as a trap which is present within them, and they can hold the hydrocarbon. So igneous and metamorphic rock can also be a good reservoir, good candidate for the reservoir. And in India also we have in Assam there is one field, we call it as Borhola field. There we are producing the hydrocarbon from the fractured basement. And next comes sedimentary rock. So most of the, more than 90%, or rather you can write 90 to 95% hydrocarbon is being recovered from sedimentary basin. Okay, so what type of sedimentary basin is, whether it is rift basin or passive margin basin, that part we will discuss in the later lectures when we will deal with the sedimentary basin analysis or sedimentology. In both cases we will discuss about different type of sedimentary basin, but here our main focus is how much amount of hydrocarbon we can find in the sedimentary basin. That means 90 to 95% hydrocarbon we can find in we used to find in sedimentary basin. Okay, so next occurrence is whether the hydrocarbon occurs. This is about the rock type. The next come subsurface occurrence and surface occurrence. As we have already discussed in the first lecture that the hydrocarbon can occur on the surface and they can occur beneath the surface. Beneath the surface. When they occur beneath the surface or below the surface, that we call it as subsurface occurrence. Subsurface occurrence. And this subsurface occurrence of hydrocarbon broadly has been divided into three categories. One is called pool, and further number of pool gets added, they form field, and a number of field form province. Okay, so next question comes, what is a pool? Okay, so pool is a discrete commercial occurrence of hydrocarbon. Pool is a discrete commercial occurrence of hydrocarbon. You can write it down, discrete commercial occurrence of hydrocarbon under one hydrostatic pressure. Okay, that means suppose this is one anticline and here we have oil and here we have gas. This is one pool. ठीक है, pool is a single, you can note, single pool is a single discrete occurrence of hydrocarbon under a unified pressure. Okay, and what is field? Field is basically when a number of pool they are associated with a single tectonic history. Suppose this is one fault and this is another fault and this is an anticline. Here we have oil finding, here we have oil finding. So this is one pool, independently this is one pool, and when they are associated with a single tectonic, a number of pool, we can write it down, we can write the definition in such a way like when a number of pool associated with one tectonic history, we call them as field. Okay, so now we can differentiate between pool and field. Pool is single discrete occurrence of commercial hydrocarbon, and field is when a number of pool associated with a single tectonic history. And next come, what is province? Province is basically when a number of field or a number of pool and field they are associated with a single geological history. That means suppose we have a passive margin basin where we have or rather rift basin. The entire rift area that will be considered as a suppose we have on the western side we have Cambay Rift. On the western India we have Cambay Rift, and Cambay Rift or Barmer Rift, they are quite prolific. as for the hydrocarbon production is concerned. So the entire that rift system will come under province, whereas the individual discrete unit, which we call it as field, Patan field, Mehsana field, or Rageshwari field, Kameshwari field, they are basically field which are associated with, within Barmer we have number of field, Mangala field, Kameshwari field, Rageshwari field. All those fields are from a single province, that is Barmer rift, and they are associated with field, and within that field we have a number of pools. Okay, so this is about the subsurface occurrence. And one more thing I would like to mention over here, that the Barmer is the maximum production of on-land production after the Mumbai offshore. Maximum on-land production in India is being produced from Barmer basin. Okay, Mumbai offshore is the first, but that is offshore production, and on onshore the maximum production is from Barmer basin. Okay, next is surface occurrence. On the in surface occurrence we have we can divide the surface occurrence as live occurrence and dead occurrence. Okay, the live occurrence is some where our pool or field is is cross cut by fault or fracture, and from that fault and fracture the reservoir seep out to the surface ground. Okay, the reservoir seep out to the ground. Okay, and continuously seeping takes place, and this type of occurrence is known as live occurrence. Okay, so in live occurrence we have we can divide live occurrence again into two, fast and slow. When the slow seepage of hydrocarbon takes place, when in slow we get seepage where the hydrocarbon slowly come to the ground. Okay, in fast occurrence, usually fast occurrence is associated with the gaseous system, where we get the sudden eruption of hydrocarbon along with the mud volcanoes. Okay, what happens, it is similar to that of volcano. Beneath the subsurface, when the hydrostatic pressure increases very high, then a lot of gas gets accumulated, and suddenly if they get some fractured zone, they escape out very rapidly, and along the mud volcano we get a lot of gaseous hydrocarbon which is being reported. Okay, and seepages are one of the very good indicator for the hydrocarbon finding, because most of the field from the world is being discovered because of the surface seepages. Okay, and when we move on the dead occurrence can be divided into two categories. One is disseminated occurrence and another is solid occurrence. Okay, disseminated occurrence means dead occurrence is usually the solid form of occurrence, like asphalt, bitumen. They are the solid crude which is being exposed on the surface, and they don't have any activity and they don't have any direct relationship with any kind of pool in general, but they may have. Okay, so disseminated occurrence means when our hydrocarbon is disseminated within the sedimentary rock. Suppose this is a sedimentary rock, in between we have some solid hydrocarbon which is disseminated throughout the body. This is solid hydrocarbon and these are the grains. Okay, this is some disseminated occurrence, and usually disseminated occurrence we get where the already existing hydrocarbon being transported and deposited in some other sedimentary basin. Okay, and solid occurrence, as for the solid occurrence is concerned, sometimes what happen after a long migration, during the migration from the source to the reservoir to the trap, solid occurrence. In solid occurrence, what happens when the hydrocarbon or petroleum, proto-petroleum migrate from source to reservoir? When it migrates from source to reservoir, what happens? The lighter fragment move faster. Lighter fragment moves faster as compared to the heavier fragment. So what happens during the migration? The heavier fragment remain in the near the source within the carrier bed, and when they are exposed, they occur as the solid accumulation of bitumens. Okay, and the lighter fragment will goes within the reservoir. Or sometimes what happens, if there is some reservoir beneath the earth's surface and we have hydrocarbon gases or liquid over here, with time we don't find them and produce them. So what happens, suppose erosion is going on, after some time the entire area gets eroded out, the entire ground level get eroded out, and this anticline comes near the surface. This anticline comes almost near the surface. So what happens, the lighter fragment escape out and the heavier fragment remain in the anticline, and they appears on the surface as solid occurrence. Okay, this is about the subsurface and surface occurrence. So as for the commerciality is concerned, the commercial hydrocarbon is associated with the subsurface occurrence of hydrocarbon, because the surface occurrence is mostly in the form of solid. They are associated with the long chain alkanes or long chain hydrocarbon, and the cracking of these long chain is quite tough. So we prefer to have the liquid hydrocarbon which is located in the subsurface. Okay, next is based on occurrence of hydrocarbon based on the geological ages. Here I have written Mesozoic, Cenozoic and Paleozoic. The sequence is not right, I think. Either I should have started Cenozoic, Mesozoic and Paleozoic, or I should have started Paleozoic, Mesozoic and Cenozoic. The sequence is not correct because of some reason, because Mesozoic era has maximum hydrocarbon accumulation, okay, followed by Cenozoic and followed by Paleozoic. It means minimum hydrocarbon we get from Paleozoic. Still from Paleozoic we get 10 to 12%. Okay, from Mesozoic we get 40 to 45%, and from Cenozoic also we get 35 to 40% hydrocarbon. This is the now next question come from Precambrian. Do we also get from hydrocarbon from Precambrian? Some people will say yes, some people will say no, but yes, actually we find hydrocarbon from Precambrian also. As I discussed earlier, in igneous and metamorphic rock, in fractured basement also, at some places, even in India also we have reporting from fractured basement, but this Precambrian finding is very less, that is around 0.1%. Okay, in Precambrian we have around 0.1% finding of hydrocarbon. So next come in Paleozoic. In Paleozoic we have era like Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous and Permian. Okay, and sometimes in general in oil industry this Permian and Carboniferous are placed together as Permo-Carboniferous. Okay, and if we see that 10 to 12% distribution, as I have already discussed in Paleozoic, how much amount we have? 10 to 12%. That 10 to 12% distribution can be distributed in these eras. So in Cambrian around 1% we have hydrocarbon finding. In Ordovician we have 3%. In Silurian it is even less than 1%. In Devonian we have 3%. In Permo-Carboniferous we have hydrocarbon finding 7 to 8%. That means in Paleozoic maximum hydrocarbon finding is in Permo-Carboniferous. Okay. Similarly, we move towards the Mesozoic. How many eras are there? In Mesozoic we have 3 eras: Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous. So which of them will have the maximum hydrocarbon finding? Any guess? Any wild? Very good. The maximum hydrocarbon finding is from Cretaceous, and that from Cretaceous we have around 35 to 40%. 35 to 40% hydrocarbon is from Cretaceous. Then from Triassic we have 6 to 7%, 2 to 5%, and from Jurassic we have 6 to 7%. Okay, next we move from Mesozoic, then after Cenozoic. Cenozoic में broadly we have Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Plio and Plisto. Okay, these are the divisions. Out of these, from this Paleocene, Eocene, we get around 10% hydrocarbon. Okay, and from this Miocene we get 20%, and from Paleocene, Oligocene again we get around 10%. Okay, so broadly it is around 40% hydrocarbon which is being recovered from this. If we talk about India, this is the global distribution of hydrocarbon through geological ages. But if we talk about India, in India maximum production comes from Cenozoic. Suppose let's take an example of our Mumbai offshore. We are producing from Miocene. If we see Miocene limestone, okay, and if we see the Assam area where we are producing from Oligocene, Miocene, okay, in here what we call maximum production from Barmer, okay, maximum online production is from Barmer, and over there again we have Paleocene, Eocene, okay. From Paleocene, Eocene we have maximum production. In Barmer some production is also from Cretaceous. After Cretaceous we get basement, so basement from basement also we are getting some production. Okay, this is about the geological distribution of hydrocarbon through geological ages. Next we will move on habitat. Based on habitat we can divide it into marine and non-marine. Marine and non-marine. So more than 90% hydrocarbon is from marine origin. Okay, because as in the further classes we will discuss about the source of hydrocarbon. So the source of hydrocarbon is like alginite is the main source for hydrocarbon, alginite mineral, that we will discuss later. But broadly here you can write down like marine is having 90% hydrocarbon and non-marine around 10%. You can divide based on lithology its occurrence. We have sandstone, limestone and others. So in general around 75% hydrocarbon is from sandstone, around 20 to 25% is from limestone and others is around 5%. Okay, in general this is from 70 to 75. This is the lithology wise distribution of, this is the lithology wise distribution of hydrocarbon. Next is about the trap. As we have we will discuss trap in great detail. Here I have mentioned just only for information, like we have a structural trap and stratigraphic trap. As you must be seeing, like in the first lecture as well as in this lecture, when I am dealing about the reservoir, I am making a structure like this. This is an anticline. This is a structural trap. Okay, and a stratigraphic trap means when we have some pinch out or some unconformity surface, that is known as stratigraphic trap. We will discuss later, but over here just to mention that in trap, the structural trap are having around 75% of finding and 25% is our stratigraphic trap. 25% is our stratigraphic trap. Next come, what is the depth-wise distribution? Next come, what is the depth-wise distribution? As per the depth-wise distribution is concerned, we have this is just for my suitability. I have divided 1500 plus to 4000 and more than 4000. If you see below, sorry, this is not above, this will be below or rather less than. Okay, less than. If you see depth-wise distribution, less than 1500, we have 35% of hydrocarbon is found less than 1500 meter depth. Okay, and between 1500 meter to 4000 meter, usually we get around 50 to 55% of occurrence, and more than 4000 meter we get 5 to 10%. Okay, to 10% occurrence. This is how the depth-wise distribution is there. Then part of basin, since we have in the starting we have discussed that igneous and metamorphic rock are does not have much role as far the hydrocarbon occurrence is concerned, generation and accumulation is concerned. The sedimentary rocks are having a lot of role as far the generation and accumulation is concerned. So in this sedimentary rock, they usually form in the basin, and the basin can be classified as self, slope, abyssal, plain and rise. As you all know, the rim part, rim is just the starting part, pro delta and delta plane. Then after that we have shelf, after that we have slope, and then deep basin. Slope is also sometimes known as hinge area. In this hinge area, we have maximum hydrocarbon finding of around 65% hydrocarbon is occurs in the hinge area, whereas in the self area we get 15% around 15 to 20%, and in the rim we get only 3%. Okay, and in the deeper part, deeper turbidite, in the deeper part, in turbidite sequences we get around 15% of hydrocarbon occurrence. Okay, so I think about the occurrence a lot of things are clear where we can find the hydrocarbon occurrence. Okay, so sometimes there is a question about the joint probability of finding of occurrence. Joint probability of finding of hydrocarbon. Suppose you have given a virgin area, and now you have to evaluate based on the geological parameters what is the probability of finding hydrocarbon in this virgin area. Okay, so for that virgin area, what parameter you need to see? You need to first see what is the rock type in the basin, what are the surface accumulation, subsurface structures, okay, pool, field, province, then what is the geological age, whether it is marine, non-marine, sand or limestone structures, and stratigraphic, what is the depth of occurrence of structure, then in which part of the basin we are dealing with. Based on that, you can calculate the joint probability by adding these parameters. Like suppose in sedimentary basin we have 75%, in sedimentary basin we have 90%, so 0.9. Then similarly suppose we are dealing with the Mesozoic. In Mesozoic we have how much occurrence? 0.45, suppose let's take 0.45. Then suppose we are dealing with the sandstone lithology. In sandstone we get around 70%, 0.7. Then for a structural trap we can take 0.75. Depth wise, suppose we are dealing with 1500 to 4000, then it is 0.5. And by adding them we can get the joint probability of finding the hydrocarbon. Okay, next come about the origin. We have seen that we have hydrocarbon at various places. It has its occurrence from geological like Precambrian era up to recent. In Pleistocene we don't get, and in Precambrian also we get very less. What is the reason behind that? In Pleistocene we don't get because they are the recent sediment and we need time. They are the recent sediment. In Pleistocene we don't get any hydrocarbon because they are the recent sediment and they don't have much time to generate hydrocarbon. And if you see the relationship between time and age, if we see the relationship between time and geological age, as the geological age increases, the window goes something like this: generation window, hydrocarbon generation window. That means if we if the older rock is there, then it will take less time to generate hydrocarbon. Okay, here it is younger rock, here it is younger rock and here it is older rock. So if we have the older rock, it usually takes less time to generate. If we are having younger rock, then it takes longer time to generate hydrocarbon. This is one relationship between age and time for generation of hydrocarbon. And these Pleistocene rocks are the recent sediment and they don't have much time to generate hydrocarbon, and if they would have generated, they it cannot get entrapped because they require a seal above that. Okay, that is one reason why we don't get hydrocarbon in the Pleistocene. Now we will move on our next topic. Which is origin of hydrocarbon. as for the origin of hydrocarbon is concerned, there is two theory. One is abiogenic or inorganic theory, and another is biogenic or organic theory. Nowadays, biogenic theory or organic theory is well proved and well accepted. But in the 18th century, most of the people were believing in the abiogenic origin or inorganic theory of hydrocarbon. The first theory was proposed by Berthelot in 1866. What does he say? He say we have a lot of alkali earth metal. We have a lot of alkali earth metal. These alkali earth metal, they interact with the inorganic they interact with the carbon and they form alkali carbide, and this alkali carbide react with water which is present between the grain or meteoric water. This, by combining them, we get the generation of hydrocarbon, and it was tested in lab and proved to be okay. But such a commercial quantity of hydrocarbon cannot be generated using this method, though after him Mendeleev also supported him in 1877 with some deviation. What was his deviation? Because the abundance of alkali metal was not much, so what he suggested, because we have around 5% iron, which is Fe, which is present on the earth's surface, so this iron act as the main agent. First we get the formation of iron carbide, and that iron carbide interact with water and lead to generation of hydrocarbon. But this theory also failed because he could not establish the commercial occurrence of hydrocarbon. But still to support this, there are some evidences. There come one theory, a volcanic theory of generation of hydrocarbon. The way, because we know that the water or different gaseous material, they came through volcanic eruption or by cooling of the earth's surface. In the similar way, it was assumed that the hydrocarbon also came during the cooling of earth solar system, and one theory was proposed, that is volcanic theory, because in Mount Etna there is a volcano, and with that volcano there is a finding of hydrocarbon, and giving the example of that Mount Etna hydrocarbon finding, people tried to establish a volcanic theory about the origin of hydrocarbon. Okay, and in the similar way, this is Mexico, not Mexico. In Temco province, there is one finding of hydrocarbon from the fractured igneous rock, and they strongly supported that they are these hydrocarbon are derived from that igneous rock and getting accumulated in the fracture. But as I have already discussed that the finding from the later on the finding from this fractured igneous rock is always associated with some sedimentary rock where the hydrocarbon is generated, and after migration they are getting accumulated in that particular system. Okay, so this is about the abiogenic theory. So in general we don't follow abiogenic theory. This is just for your introduction, that you have to have an idea about the abiogenic or inorganic theory, who was there and how they proposed. Though this is about the 18th century, now we believe in the biogenic theory or organic theory about the generation of hydrocarbon. So next come, if we discarded these everything, Then what are the evidence about the biogenic origin? I am telling biogenic theory is acceptable. So next my point should be, what are the evidence, on what basis I am suggesting you that biogenic theory is well accepted. As for the biogenic, in the support of biogenic theory, there are a lot of evidences. I have mentioned few of them, like the remain of organism in the crude. When we see the crude oil, crude is usually in black color. When we see this crude oil under microscope, what happen? They have the vitrinite, or they have the minerals which can be observed, and they have direct correlation with the plant or algal material. Okay, so that is one evidence which support the presence of which support the biogenic origin. Okay, and next is in the recent organic matter, as I have discussed that in Pleistocene era we don't have any hydrocarbon finding, but the recent sediment of Gulf of Mexico and Venezuela. Okay, in Gulf of Mexico, the ammonite shale the chambers of ammonite shale, the recent chambers of ammonite shale, some oily substance has been observed, and that oily substance supports that the hydrocarbon, the commercial hydrocarbon, must have been generated from the organism. Similarly, in the Venezuela, there is a La Luna limestone. It is a kind of coquinal limestone. This La Luna limestone is a kind of coquinal limestone which is very rich in forum. Okay, and when we break these La Luna limestone, there is it has been seen that some viscous material similar to crude has been reported from this La Luna limestone. That is when one another evidence which supports that we have the hydrocarbon which has been generated from biogenic sources. Okay, next is our Jatropha plant. It is very famous plant. Nowadays government is planning to plant more and more Jatropha plant, because this Jatropha plant is the seeds of these plants are used to generate biodiesel. Okay, and you must have heard the news that in Dehradun itself one flight was take off by using this biodiesel, and they did it successfully. That means this biodiesel is quite good, and the biodiesel is coming from the plant. That is again an indicator that hydrocarbon is being generated from biogenic sources. Okay, next come optical activity. As we have discussed in the first class when we were dealing with the properties of petroleum or hydrocarbon, there we discussed that these hydrocarbons are showing optical property. They shows enantiomer, diastereomer, or they shows stereomerism, and this stereomer property is mainly associated with what we call it as the substance which is having organic origin. The stereomerism occurs only in those substances which are having organic origin. That means they are again supporting the organic nature of production. Next is pristane and phytane. In general, in the recent, this pristane and phytanes are isomers of chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Most of you must be knowing. Chlorophyll is a pigment. Chlorophyll is a pigment which is present in the plant and it is responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, so if we are getting some organic structure which is similar to chlorophyll, isoprenoid, that means they are an indirect indicator that pristine is and phytane is coming from chlorophyll. That means that chlorophyll is coming from plant. That means indirectly the hydrocarbon is coming from plant or plant material. One study is there for carbon 13 and carbon 12 and 13 isotopic ratio, and it has been seen that the carbon 13 isotopic ratio, it has been seen that the carbon 12 by 13 ratio in the organic matter is between minus 35 to minus 15 around. Okay, and in atmosphere it is around minus 5 to minus 10. So and in hydrocarbon, this C14 and C30 isotopic ratio is between minus 40 to minus 20 around. Okay, that means it has maximum similarity. The isotopic ratio C12 and C13 ratio is having similarity with the organic matter. That means the biota which is present over there, they have a direct link. The organic matter has direct isotopic ratio, also suggests that the hydrocarbon is from the biogenic origin. Okay, so this is all about the origin of hydrocarbon. In short, we have completed about the origin. Now in the next class we will start with the what are the depositional environment which leads to generation of hydrocarbon using these biogenic substances. Okay, so in the next class we will start what are the depositional environment which help to generate these hydrocarbon from the biogenic materials. With this, I would like to complete the lecture for the day. Here this day we have discussed about the occurrence, what are the different scenario where we get the hydrocarbon, and what are the major cause for the origin of hydrocarbon. Okay, with this I would like to thank you.